Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome back to day 5 of my 13 Frights before Halloween. Today's project is a 3D pop-up box card that you see here. Now I have it laying down flat so that you can actually see it. But this is how it stands up like this. It has the flaps. Now I made my flap stand up on the back so I could add the little spider web. You have the witch and the skeleton. These are all Tim Holtz Halloween ephemera pieces from his Halloween package from last year. I added a glittery spider. I've added some of the elements. Now this is what it looks like when it's folded flat. And with these decorations on, you could not mail it in the mail. You could if you made a large 6x8 envelope. But mine's for decoration, so I added this little jack-o'-lantern charm here on the front. So these are a lot of fun to make if you've never made a pop-up box card. They're really easy, and I'm going to show you how to make this one, so stay tuned. And oh, remember to leave a comment so that you'll be eligible for the prize drawing on October 31st for those of you in the USA. And if you're a subscriber, you'll be eligible, so subscribe and leave a comment. Thanks. So let's get started on the tutorial. To make the 3D pop-up Halloween box card, you're going to need one sheet of cardstock. I'm using the black Artisan from Country Craft Creations because it's a really heavyweight linen cardstock. You need one piece that you've cut 6 inches by 12. And then you need another piece that you've cut at 3 7/8 by 3 1/4. Set this one aside for now. And then from your scraps of paper, cardstock, you're going to cut you some 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch strips. These are all about 7 inches long. I don't know, I don't need all of them. Probably I have about 6. And then I've got some shorter ones in those widths that are about 4 inches. So I just cut them out of the scraps. You won't need them all, but you have the different shorter and the longer in case you need them. These are for our elements that are going to pop up out of the box. So the first thing you're going to need to do is put your cardstock in with the 12 inch at the top. I'm turning mine because I've already got it scored, but I want to show you and give you the measurements for scoring. So on your 12 inch side, you're going to score at 2 7/8. Oops, 2 7/8. Can't see here. Need a better light over here. 2 7/8. 5 3/4, 8 5/8, and then at 11 1/2. So that gives you this 1/2 inch score line right here. These are all 2 7/8 apart. And then you're going to turn with your 6 inch side here, and you're going to score at 3 1/2. Let's see here, double check. Yeah, turn and score your 6 inch side at 3 1/2. And that's going to make our top flap of our box. So we have our main pieces here, and then we're going to take this one here that is, so I want my 3 7/8 side at the top right there, and we're going to score this 3 7/8 side at 1/2 inch, turn and score the other side at 1/2 inch. Now this is going to make our little platform inside. I'm just double checking. The reason I didn't do it in little singles is because it's just easier to score the whole piece. So now we're going to cut this piece across the score line. So let me show you real quick. So you want your score lines half here and half here. You're going to turn it so that they're going across. And then we're going to cut these pieces into 3/4 to about 1 inch. So I'm going to use 3/4 cut. I'm cutting at least 4. You can do 3 or 4, however many you need for your little elements in there. 1, 2. So if you're cutting at 3/4 inches, the correct measurement would have been probably 3 1/4 is all you needed. So I have 4 with the score at a 1/2 inch on each end. So you see that like that when it folds. That gives you your little 2 7/8 in between, the same size as your inside of your box. Okay, so set those aside. And we don't need the scoreboard anymore. And you're going to need your scissors. And we're going to cut away on the short sides. You're going to cut away the fold lines. So cut, I'm going to make 2 cuts on each line. Cut to the right of the line and then cut right against the left of the line. That just cuts out this little bitty section here. And cut all the way down to your score line. And cut that out. So you have just a very, very slight gap of clearance. So do the other 2 lines on each side here. You'll notice I have my 1/2 inch score line over here on the side. One more. These are going to make the flaps of your box. Okay, over here on the side, we're going to cut this 1/2 inch completely out, down to the score line. We don't need it on the top part. So it should look like this now. So you've got these cut apart, this cut away. You've got a flap here. We're going to like angle this on the edge here and on the bottom. This is the tab that will put the box together. Okay. So that's what we have. So we're going to score this tab under, burnish it, and score or fold and burnish each of the box lines that are not cut. This one right here could be cut away a little more. And one more. So that's how the box is going to go together. You want these flap ones. Now lay this down with your 1/2 inch folded under and fold back on these. There. So those are your little flaps. So this is how it's going to go together to make your box. But we're going to put our pattern paper on first before we assemble anything, okay? So lay it out. And I have pre-cut my pattern papers. For this bottom piece here, I have the stripes that I cut 4 of them that are 3 3/4 wide by 3 3/8 tall. They're going to go there. So I'm going to glue those on real quick. I'm using this diagonal stripe side. I want to make sure I put them all on the same direction. So put this pattern that I can see This would be the top because this is the pattern if I was using it. So go ahead and put your glue on. And pattern all 4 of these. Now on mine I'm making it for decorative reasons. If you're making this as a card to give away, you will want to put a piece of white paper on one of the squares, and usually that would be the back square. So that should be this one, I believe, so that you could write a message on your card. Or you could write a message and have it popping up out the top too if you wanted to. So mine are all going to be patterned because, like I said, I want it for a decorative piece, not as a card. And you can fold them down as a card and send them in the mail. Should fit in a 6 by 6 inch envelope that you would purchase or make. So we got that one on. Okay, so we got all 4. Then I cut these little mats out of the bats to go on top. So I'll call these the second mats. These are 4 of these, 2 1/4 wide by 2 7/8 tall. And they're going to go like that. So that's where you would want to put your solid piece if you wanted to. I'm going to center these. I think this stripe and all really makes them stand out. A little double layering there. And I forgot to mention, I am using again the Authentique Masquerade paper from this year that I purchased from Country Craft Creations for this project. It has some fun cut aparts too that you could actually trim down to fit on these little squares if you wanted to do that for a box. Because I do want to pattern these, so I chose the Halloween colored dots on the back side of some of the cut aparts. I had extra pages, so I'm going to put it on the front and the back. You want 8 of them cut 2 3/4 wide by 2 3/8 tall. So they have like a 1/16 of an inch border around each side. It's the same as the ones on the bottom. So I'm going to put it on all 4 of these here. So that's the underside of the flaps. So then turn it over and go ahead and do the floor again. Now I'm not going to add any pattern paper to these bottom ones, simply because by the time I put all my elements in, it probably won't show. At least I don't think it will. Just put all these on. Okay, so next we're ready to put the box together. So this is your inside. So you have your tab here. So just on the outside of this 1/2-inch tab, we'll put our glue. And then I'm going to fold this flap down so I can hold it better. We're going to bring it together and line up the side edge, the cut edge of the end, to the edge of the flap. So it's easier, I think, to stand it up like this. Here we go. And make sure you get it on there straight. The top and the bottom. And right there on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to burnish that with my fingers. I'm going to flatten it down and take my bone folder inside there where my flap is. That black on black really shows up, doesn't show up where the seam is. There we go. So you can put your seam, it doesn't really show, so it really doesn't matter front or back, but it depends if you're using it for card where you put that little piece that you added on. So there's those. Now next, these pieces are going to go in, and I like to stagger them, like fold 1/2 inch to the front and 1 1/2 inches to the back. And you're going to put these in. You're going to put glue on the outside of the tabs, and you're going to glue these into your box all the way across. So I have 4. So I'm going to try to plan these like maybe 1/2 inch from the front. We'll see how that goes. So stick it down. So here's how the glue is. The glue's on this one and then on the back one, but on the outside of them. So then I'm just going to put this in, and then this one on the other side. You kind of eyeball them and get them the same. Can you see that? Maybe a little closer in. Okay, so they go straight across. If there's one, I'm going to reach in there and get the excess glue off. The art glitter glue will dry clear, so that's not a problem. Okay, now the next one, fold one back, fold one forward. I'm going to put this one towards the back so that I can space the other two. And you can add more if you want to than just these 4. The reason I stagger the folds is maybe to make it a little stronger. I don't know why. I've always done that. Okay, there we go. Burnish those in. 2 more. So I think I will just use 4 in this one. And the last one. So I am again going to be using the Tim Holtz Halloween ephemera pieces because I love them. You can go through your Halloween stash and find different ephemera pieces that you may have or that you want to fussy cut out of different paper. If you're fussy cutting out of pattern paper, I would definitely mat it to black cardstock so that it makes them thicker. I think these with the Tim Holtz will be okay and not need thicker on there. But if they do, I will certainly mat them and then fussy cut them. Okay, so that's pretty good. It's not totally perfect as far as distance on each side, but it works. So you have a line of 4 elements there in your box that you can mat your pieces to. Okay. Okay, to make sure that it's going to fold down right, I go ahead and fold it down and then burnish here on the sides where those 1/2-inch pieces are attached so that they fold in. So you just kind of want to play with them, make sure they fold in and out. Okay, and stay attached. So, okay, I'm ready to put some of my elements in, or make them. So I've got the skeleton. I've already attached him to one just to see. I am not going to have him sticking out that tall, so I don't need these tall, I don't think, as tall pieces, but we'll see. So I've got a skeleton, I've got a witch with a moon on her hat, or she's in front of the moon. I've got the jack-o'-lantern, I got the word spooky, I have this creepy guy that says carbolic acid, poison, caution, this is warm. He's pretty cool. I have the moon that I love, another moon, and this black cat that, let me get this piece punched out, that I've used before, but this is a different size. You get several different sizes in the pack of Halloween ephemera from Tim Holtz. Now this I think was from last year. I don't know, he may have a different one, a new one this year. I haven't looked. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to glue them all to a long one, and then I can cut down what I need. So I'll just put glue on some of these just right on the end here. And I'm going to glue so that you don't see the black so much at the top. I'll do this one. And then I'm going to let them all dry. Because you do want these to be different sizes of height. You don't want them all the same height. You want some, variation in your pop-up elements. And then you also need to make sure they stay within your card area. Now if you're going to mail this, then you don't want them to stick out too terribly far. Let's see here, let me measure this right quick. Yeah, because if you're going to put it in a 6x6 envelope, they cannot pop up above this level here. So you've only got about 2 7/8 area that they can stick out. So you have to make sure that if you're using it for decoration, then you can go a little taller. Let me get this spooky on here. Haven't decided how to do the cat one yet. I was going to put this guy on one. Now the cat, he may be able to just attach with his paws right in there. I think that's going to work. So I'm going to put glue on his 3 feet right on the bottom. Take my box and I'll put in the very first one in the center. That's the first one. See it there? See how he's just standing up there? And then everything else, you will cut it down. Some of these elements are tall enough that they don't even need this part here. So let's do the moon towards the back. And I'm going to cut around this part here. Don't want that showing as much. The curve there. So I'm just make it a little smaller. So really all these shorter pieces would work fine. Now some people use acrylic. Not acrylic. Acetate. I always say acrylic. Acetate strips. I didn't have any heavy enough, I felt, for these. So I'm just using the black cardstock for mine. I'm going to hold him in there in place. He does need on a taller one, so change that. He needs to be on a little bit taller. I'm going to cut that off and then reattach one. Let's got one left here. So you've got to play with it and see how you like the way it looks. So I positioned that one so there's not as much showing up in the moon of the black. And then I'm going to see where I want to cut it off. And hold that. And you can tilt them a little bit at an angle if you wanted to. And the jack-o'-lantern, I think I wanted it on the one behind the cat on the opposite side. So I'm going to just cut this off a little bit and put him in like that. So far I'm liking it. Now see, when it flattens down, you can leave this flap down and like that for storage for a decorating piece. If you were going to mail it, you would have to make a bigger envelope to accommodate all that area. But I like that. So, okay, that's pretty much the construction part on how to do it on a 3D pop-up card. I'm probably going to add more decorations and things from my cut aparts and different elements that I have. And of course I will show you the finished one in photos at the end of this video, and also in a video at the front of the video when I show you how to make it. So I want to thank you so much for joining in. This is day 5, October the 22nd, 2020 of my 13 Frights Before Halloween crafting extravaganza, I guess you would say. Remember to comment today and every day so that you will have an entry into my drawing on October 31st. I will pick a winner for a crafty prize, either a finished project or some supplies or both. And then it is also, I apologize, but it is only for USA because I can't pay the shipping out of the USA. So if you're subscribed to my channel, I invite you to comment for the prize drawing that I will have on October 31st. Okay, so check back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time, and I'll have another Halloween crafting project for you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.